Did you say it just automatically is going to go live in 10 minutes?
We're actually live right now.
Oh, all right. Can they hear us with the mic on?
They can hear us.
Anybody watch? Is there a way to tell anyone watching? If there's one person watching, we know it's Jess. She said she was going to turn it on at work.
Oh.
I definitely have to put this down.
So they can't talk to us, but they type to us? Is that how it works?
Yeah, essentially.
All in the two frame.
It's like Evanescence? Sounds exactly like a lead.
It's it could be. It's Spotify, so I literally just picked it how it goes.
Oh, it's not like for me.
It's not mine. That's why I was like hunting for music that doesn't hurt. Essentially all of mine does.
These new tools are awesome. It's so much better. We should have got like a picture of Jen so you put it up.
Yeah, right, like a cardboard thing.
Maybe I'll go do that. I'm gonna run back to my desk to make sure everything's running good, and then maybe I'll print out a picture of Jensen.
What time is it?
It is 10:54.
Can you hang out for 5 minutes?
Oh yeah, to grab the door. Yeah, absolutely.
Put the mic up.
Absolutely. Fortunately, it looks like this camera is good for close-up stuff and less good for far-away stuff, so I might have to move it closer to you.
We can move it around with the base. We said by touching the base, right? We're good with that?
Yeah, definitely.
So if you want to move it around, at least you have a pretty good view from where you are of the showing.
Which is essentially literally just aimed at me.
As it should be.
Kind of curious for how much this is going to come off when we get to scrubbing.
You're doing pretty good picking. Probably pick for like a solid hour and then scrub. We're going to be here a while. I'm losing you at some point, I assume.
Just for an hour. Or for half an hour, whatever. It doesn't take me an hour.
Whatever you need.
Okay, sir.
And your forearm is going to be very hot.
think that little people would take that long.
How you doing?
No.
I'm pretty sure
No
we get
viewers.
What's that?
No viewers.
No what?
She said no viewers.
Oh.
That's okay.
I will take it.
We're also recording for posterity. So what happens is the video is streaming on our YouTube channel right now, and then once it's over, like it stays there.
Forever.
Forever.
Okay.
So did Mike not pick up his one fish? Should have the person just standing.
Yeah.
Don't you have an intern?
We do. She's only in 3 days a week. Maddie's only in 3 days a week, sadly.
Like Maddie.
Yeah, she's super nice.
Happy, cheerful.
She's like a more talkative Jensen.
Yes. And it gives you less deer in the headlight looks when you talk to her. For a while, I thought Jensen just hadn't liked me. Then I realized she makes that face with it.
Yeah.
She's like this.
She has two expressions. She either looks terrified or looks really
Confused.
happy.
Or like something. And say, that's something wrong.
Nope, that's just her. I think she's always just surprised people are talking to her.
Oh.
We're sitting here cleaning a hippo, and everyone is paying attention to this bird.
I know, everyone wants to see bird. And again, I am kind of in the way of most of it. Yeah. Too darn bad. Oh my gosh.
Don't worry, zero computers.
I know, but it's hard to do. And it sucks about house music is that it takes forever for them to just like actually play the song.
My cousin's a DJ. He does house music.
Far too much buildup, but just
Lots of
play
build-up.
it. It doesn't have to be 8 minutes long. It could be 4.
I wouldn't be shocked if we go the entire day and I haven't ever heard of any of
You
them.
won't. There's no way you would have. It takes no one to question how old you are, right?
It's a generation thing, but it's tough.
Gotta be, but is that our volunteer? What's our volunteer?
What is it? You want to get him?
You want me to bring him in? What do you want?
No, he stays out there. We gotta bring the mic out and turn it on and tell him what he's doing.
Okay.
Basically, what he's doing is watching the microphones, telling people they can ask us questions, make sure people aren't, it should all be on.
Should I be on?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a test.
Three questions, too. Soft flash.
Now you get, because his advertising starts at 11, so no one, I would came over here early. So they're all taking pictures.
I know.
sure he'll be here literally as much as he possibly can be.
Testing, testing. Testing in here? You guys hear? Okay. Testing out here in Eaton Be Eaten. Can anyone hear me in Eaton Be Eaten?
No, because that's this one on me.
What's that?
The mic on me is the one that.
Oh, so let's turn you on too then.
Yeah.
Do you know how to turn that on?
No, well, that's not on.
Oh yeah, I turned it on. I just don't know
Yeah.
how to turn it on.
I just need to put on my head. You're all dirty.
All right, so he knows the sport.
All right. I need your help.
Set him up.
Go on. Nothing on my head. But probably need the mic like. Hello, hello. Can you hear me out there? Hello.
You're kind of low.
All right.
Turn up the knob. There's a knob.
Out there?
Yeah, there's a knob. It's
You'll
on
see
one.
the system is
So put
next
it
to
to
the.
2.5.
Okay.
I can hear you good, loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you.
Since there's people out there, I can bring it up.
All right, give me another check 1, 2, please.
Check 1, 2. Check. This is the volume I will be speaking at.
All right, you guys are good. Unless you need me for something else, I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
I think we're all set. Thank you very much.
All right.
Somehow, no matter, it doesn't matter if she's still getting all the attention here.
We could have a mermaid.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
We're going back out of the way.
Oh no, it's
No, because then he might start squawking.
He's good. People love Mickey. Some of these teeth are practically clean and need nothing, and then some of them are terrible.
Yeah, like the molars are pretty gnarly.
I think the big incisors here. How you doing, guys? You can have any questions for us?
Why are you cleaning the hippo head?
We're actually cleaning this hippo skull because eventually it's going to be on display here, and it's going to be really nice and clean and beautiful and white and all put back together. And people are actually going to be able to come back to the Science Center and be able to touch her. So if you guys come back in like a month or so, she will actually be out there and you'll be able to get real close to her and even touch it. But we have to finish cleaning her before we can make her all pretty and white.
What is the parrot eating?
Seeds and nuts.
He's eating, right now he's eating a walnut. This is like the music you listen to if you're a really bad sci-fi movie. Some montage of us flying through space is going on.
I had to work with what I was given, okay? Granted, I do like some of this music, not all of it. I'm sorry if it's horrible to your ears. But most things are.
It's
Like,
not terrible.
I can't seem to sleep. No music can
The fact that there's less talking is probably.
Well, that's, I figured. There's minimal verbiage.
That whole thing is the head, right?
Yeah, so it's actually in several parts right now. So the part that Corinne is working on is the cranium, which is the top part of the skull. The part right there is the bottom part, that's the mandible. And I'm working on these separate teeth. A lot of the teeth fall out during the cleaning process. And then some of them are really loose, so we purposely pull them out, which is actually a good thing. So it allows us to get them really nice and clean. And then once we're done cleaning her, and she's done going through the whitening process, we'll actually reattach the teeth. So eventually the entire thing will go right back together.
Are the bones heavy?
Are they heavy? Are the bones or the teeth?
Well, is that heavy?
It's pretty heavy. You guys could raise up that mic stand, so you don't have to keep bending down.
You can do it.
They'll probably come in waves out there. The campers come through.
What do hippos eat?
Hippos are vegetarians, so they eat a lot of grasses and aquatic plants and things like that. They're grazers. When we actually got her the head in, it was mostly fully fleshed, which means most of the material is still on it. And she even still had her last meal in her mouth, which was a bunch of hay. We had to remove. Kind of one of those gross but awesome things. Couldn't stay very long.
No, the stream looks great.
Are you going to answer that comment?
Oh, we have 4 viewers.
Ooh. Maybe Jess is one of them.
Actually, Fred, I want to move this microphone closer to you because people outside aren't asking you questions. You could at least
We've
talk.
got a couple, not too many.
From the volunteers.
Anybody out there has any questions? You could talk right into that microphone next to you. Can hear you. What's going on?
No,
Oh.
just hold the microphone.
Chilling.
How old is the hippo?
That's a really interesting question. When she passed away, she was 58 years old. What's really interesting about that is that made her at the time the second oldest hippo in all of North America. So she passed away due to just natural causes from being obviously very, very old for hippopotamus. In the wild, it's very rare hippos even live to 30. So for her to reach nearly 60 years of age, obviously that was a result of her living in a facility where she was cared for really well.
Where did you guys get her?
She was a donation from the Toledo Zoo of Ohio.
How big was she?
She was a full-grown female. The females don't get as big as the males. I don't know how large she was when she was alive, but hippos are one of the largest animals on the planet, one of the largest land-based mammals anyway, and they can get up to a few tons.
Are hippos aggressive?
Hippopotamus are extremely aggressive. It's known that they're considered to be one of, if not the most dangerous animal on the African continent. The reason why is they're very, very territorial, and they're very skittish. So they tend to turn and fight lots of times when they're faced with predators. And they can be very, very aggressive to people, especially the males when it comes to territory. They have no problem fighting each other. They fight each other with these big tusks. You can imagine what kind of damage these could do to a person, let alone another hippopotamus.
Like in a way. Excited to see what comes off when I actually spread it.
Hopefully she'll be a lighter shade of brown by the time.
Feel better?
Louder? You guys have any questions? Yeah.
You heard this one? It was on radio.
Carrie always makes fun of me because I like this.
These gentlemen are asking, what are you doing?
Today we are finishing up the last cleaning of our hippopotamus skull. We've been working on this hippopotamus skull for about a year. When I first got her, she was fully flesh, and then I had the skin, everything was still on it. So removing all that stuff took about a year. Today is our final clean. It's the most serious one. We have to get every little speck of bacteria and everything off of the bone, because at the end of today she's going to go in her hydrogen peroxide bath. And that will turn the skull a beautiful white, so she won't look like this kind of brown. And then in a couple weeks, she will actually be going out on display right on our floors. What's really neat about that is not only are we going to display her out there for our guests, but we are going to have her right there out on a cart where people can physically come up and actually touch her. As far as I know, I think it will be the only hippopotamus skull on display anywhere in for public display in the United States where people could actually physically touch it.
Do you guys have the whole skull?
Yes, we do. So Corinne over there is working on the top part of the skull, which we call the cranium. Maybe Corinne, can you point at maybe one of the eyes? You can see where it kind of orients itself. Over here is the mandible, which would be the lower jaw. And I'm working on a lot of the teeth. A lot of the teeth fall out naturally during the cleaning process. And then some of the really loose ones we'll actually pull out ourselves because it allows us to get into all this gunk inside the sockets and everything. Once she's done being whitened, we will actually reattach all these parts together that go right back together. So when you come and see her on display, she'll all be back in one piece.
Do you guys just clean it with Dawn?
Dawn is really great stuff. Product placement. It's really, really powerful, so it really allows us to get a lot of the grease and oils and stuff that are remaining on the bones. It's as far as soaps go, it's not what I prefer to use. So right now we're picking out all the kind of colonies of bacteria that have been growing on her, and then as we do that every now and then, we'll put her in the sink and we'll scrub the whole thing down with Dawn, and we'll repeat that process over and over and over again today till we have all of it cleared. This isn't the end of the process. Once she's been washed and all that stuff, she actually goes into a bath of hydrogen peroxide. It's not like the hydrogen peroxide you might have in your cabinet at home. It's much higher concentration, and that will actually, in addition to turning her white, it will eliminate any remaining smell and kill off any remaining bacteria. And at that point, then she's ready for display.
Did she die a natural death?
She did. She passed away at the ripe old age of 58, which at the time made her the second oldest hippopotamus in North America. In the wild, it is very rare that hippopotamus even live 30 years, so at 58, she was a very old one. And she did pass away from just natural causes, caused by old age.
How big was she?
She was a full-grown female. The females don't get as big as the males. I don't know what her weight was in life. Hippopotamus are among the largest land animals in the world, along with rhinoceros and elephants. So without a doubt, she was probably a few tons when she was alive.
Hippos can weigh up to 4.5 tons, and they can grow up to be 10 to 17 feet long.
What did you do homework?
I read it in Fred's PowerPoint last night.
Never mind then.
Yeah, the very large hippopotamus are the males. Although females, it's not like they're small. But they're maybe not getting up to that yet.
You guys work here, right? Not for anything else?
That's right. We work right here. Corinne over here is, she's actually famous. She's probably the biggest celebrity that works here at Liberty Science Center. This is Corinne. She's one of our wonderful animal interpretation associates. And my name is Fred, and I work along with Corinne.
I work along with you, Fred.
I was gonna say we do have 5 people watching at home, so feel free to talk to the online audience.
Do I have to walk towards that mic, or is
No, you're good. You're good talking right now.
Hey, everybody watching at home or at work. Glad you can join us here today while we work on our hippopotamus school. I think they can type in, right?
They might be able to. Leave a comment on the video.
Yeah, if you leave a comment on the video, we can actually read it. So if you have any questions about what we're doing here today, we will do our best to answer it. You may hear me kind of just randomly spouting out hippopotamus facts or describing what we're doing, and that's because we actually have a live mic set up right outside the lab here. So the guests that are at Liberty Science Center today are right outside our window right now watching us, and they're asking us questions. So not because I'm crazy and talking to myself.
Could this bird have babies?
Did that bird have babies? Well, it's a male, so he himself could not lay any eggs. This molar is killing me.
Funny joke.
It's going to be even more fun is cleaning the teeth that are still in the sockets.
Can't wait.
Although at least you don't have to worry about getting into the root.
That's true. There is a lot of it that was blasted out.
Yeah, that thing really saved us a lot of time.
Weird mystical ideas. Like a wizard.
Anybody who's watching at home, me and Corinne were talking about earlier before we even set her up here. We actually brought her out, kind of hosed her down just to get any loose material off of her. We actually kind of gave her almost like a power wash, and we found a little rubber hose attachment that's used for cleaning trumpets and other kind of instruments, and it kind of restricts the water down from the hose. And we actually were able to use that to get really deep inside a lot of the sockets and a lot of the crevices, and I think it put us in really good shape today. We blasted a lot of material out.
And we got blasted for a lot of material.
And we got a little bit.
Whenever you talk to the folks at home, just make sure you talk really loud. Microphone.
Sorry about that, folks at home. I will make sure I talk much louder.
6 people watching now.
Ooh,
To the moon.
It's because Corinne's here. They could, they see they're watching Corinne right now, not me.
I'll be back, guys, to do some microphone stuff.
yes, compadre.
I see, like this one, almost nothing.
I guess she just didn't take care of some of her teeth.
So I think anything she did to these teeth is long gone because the bacteria we put on the teeth. You're kind of all pixelated. You look like a robot. Like a video. You look like you're like an old school Nintendo or Atari character.
I will take it.
Why are you cleaning the hippo head and why is it cracked?
Which crack? Can you guys point?
With her.
Why is it cracked back there? It's actually not cracked. It was purposely sawed open. When she passed away, the place that had her, they did a necropsy on her just to kind of see, why she passed away and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually where the brain was. So they actually sawed through to remove that because it was part of their necropsy process. It's actually good for us because it prevented us from having to worry about just one more thing we didn't have to remove. We're cleaning the skull because it's going to be going out for public display in a few weeks. So this is kind of the last or one of the final parts of the process before we can whiten her and then put her out for display so that everyone can get a nice close look at her and even touch her. So she'll actually be debuting on our new Animal Artifacts cart, which will be coming out in early August. Sounds like both the others.
That is the problem with house. They all sound the same. But if they all sound good, it's okay. Don't worry, you won't see any crazy EDC pictures from me.
For all those watching at home, you guys can thank the wonderful house music we're listening to to Corinne.
We can't hear you.
Good.
The folks at home, we got everyone watching us at home as well.
It's good music. You love it. Christmas in here?
What do you mean?
Snowy?
Oh, you just get lots of
Yeah. Like
lots of
mountains.
stuff. And really, she sat in the water for an extra 2 weeks, so it's just 2 more weeks worth. Though I pulled the heater,
Okay.
so that's why the water wasn't as cloudy. So I think that helped a little bit. We didn't have quite as much stuff.
What are you guys doing?
Oh,
We are in the process of our final clean for our hippopotamus skull. This is the last clean we have to do for her before she goes into her whitening, which is a hydrogen peroxide bath. Once she's finished with that, in a couple of weeks, she will actually be going out on display for the public. So this is just us finishing up that process so that she's ready for everybody out there to see, nice and up close.
this thing is going to be so dull by the time we're done with it. It already doesn't have tip.
What's that?
It already doesn't have tip.
You're getting a lot of stuff off there, though.
Sorry, I'll buy another.
Where did you find this?
This hippopotamus skull was actually a donation from the Toledo Zoo of Ohio. You need help?
I don't think so.
How old is it?
When she passed away, she was 58 years old, which at the time made her the second oldest hippo in North America. So she was very old for a hippo.
What are you guys trying to sculpt?
We're actually not sculpting. We're cleaning this hippopotamus skull for display. So this is not a sculpture. This is a real hippopotamus skull. You got it over, no problem.
Told me all those extra arm days.
All those extra what?
Arm days?
Arm
Gym?
days?
Arm days at the gym?
I didn't know that.
Yes. Every day you do something else.
What is it?
How go the teeth over there?
Good. I think I'm through all the tough ones.
Okay. Good.
So as soon as I see the last few, the bigger ones are going to be the easier ones. I'm going to draw them up. That might be all we need to do on the teeth today.
Okay, good.
And then I'll jump in and help you. Big projects over there.
totally be a dental hygienist nightmare.
You could practice though.
Yeah. See how much black you can do.
What are you guys doing?
We are doing the final clean of our hippopotamus skull. So right now we're in the process of scraping off a lot of the bacteria that we actually started growing on it. We need to do this before she can go in her whitening, which is a hydrogen peroxide solution. And then once she's done with that, she will be going out on display for the public to see and touch in a few weeks, sometime in early August.
Do you guys do any other animals?
We have, in the past, here at the Science Center, we most recently, a couple years ago, did a young horse skull. This song makes me feel like I'm on hold.
On hold.
Yeah, like, please hold, and then they play that music.
You're a street. I never ever get this many like text or messages, and today, the day that I can't really like be on my phone, it's blowing
Oh, is
up.
that why? It's like,
It goes down because I get text.
they're very popular.
I guess so. You said them. You said it yourself on things.
You are.
Tell my parents I'm work famous.
That your what?
That I'm work famous.
Hello again,
What is the
everyone.
bird's name?
Bird's name is Mickey. Hello again, everybody watching at home. If you have any questions, you should be able to comment on the video stream. We apologize that it takes us a few minutes to get to it. Obviously, myself and Corinne can't really be touching the computer. However, Joe, our what?
Media guy.
Our wonderful social media guy, Joe, will be stopping in now and then, and he will help us out, read out some of those comments, and we'll be able to respond to you. So just please bear with us if it does take a little while.
Almost lost the tool in the hole. Again, I hope you're all enjoying my musical seconds.
I know I am.
I am.
All right, I think I'm up to scrubbing.
Up scrubbing?
Scrub.
Take this.
What's that?
Then scrub this.
I'm going to scrub the teeth.
Oh, okay, scrub the teeth.
Does the bone smell?
It definitely has an odor to it. Me and Corinne have been working on this for so long that I barely notice it. What about you, Corinne?
Not anymore.
Yeah, very little. She doesn't smell probably as bad as you think, just because really there's not a lot of material left on her. And really what's left on her is just bacteria. So that's really the smell. It's not a pleasant smell, but it's not overpowering at all.
Where did this hippo come from?
Say that again?
Where did this came from?
She was a donation from the Toledo Zoo of Ohio.
How long has this been dead?
She passed away, I believe it was early May 2013.
Oh, 1 year ago?
A little bit over a year ago, and we got her at the very end of May 2013.
Oh, so you're gonna disassemble everything and then put them back?
Yeah, well, she's already disassembled, so we're actually in the process now of finishing the cleaning. And then she's going to go into a peroxide bath at the end of today. And that peroxide bath will completely eliminate any remaining smell. And it will also turn the bone its natural white. After that, we will then put her all back together. So all these loose teeth I'm working on will all go right back into their normal place. It's actually easier for us to clean her with the teeth out, which is why we remove them. Because it allows us to get into the teeth sockets where there could be stuff growing, so it allows us to get in there to get all that gunk out.
So what are you cleaning now?
Right now, I'm cleaning one of the incisors. This is one of her very large teeth. In life, it looks really big, but it's almost like an iceberg. This would be the part that would be sticking out in life, and all this bottom is the part that's deep in the skull and the socket.
This tool is definitely going to be replaced. That's doing such a good job.
Showing our tools.
Maybe not perfect.
So Dawn's really doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, good.
is just natural.
Yeah.
That is just natural discoloration. A lot of that will fade. Like this is not bacteria. This is just part of the natural bone. Don't go nuts
She
trying.
didn't, yeah, she didn't brush her teeth.
Yeah, don't go nuts trying to scrape off every little speck of black.
No, or white. Whatever the white stuff.
Yeah, well you know what the bacteria looks like.
Is what you were holding supposed to be white when it comes out?
I mean, in life, she was old. As Corinne was just pointing out, it's not like she brushed her teeth every single day like we do. So the color of this tooth is probably very close to what it looked like towards the end of her life. When we peroxide it, the teeth will become more white, but they tend not to turn the bright, super white that the rest of the bones do, at least in my experience.
Once they've been tainted.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is natural staining.
They want to know what you're doing.
We are in the process of cleaning our hippopotamus skull so that it will be ready for display in a couple weeks.
Did you guys take it apart yourselves?
The two parts of the skull naturally come apart. Even your own skull is held together by your muscles and all that stuff, and those weren't there. It's not connected by bones. The teeth, some of them fell out during the process of cleaning, and some of them we purposely pulled out if they were very loose. And the reason why we do that is it actually helps us clean. It allows us to get deeper into the sockets of the teeth and really clean out all the junk that's in there.
What is Corinne doing?
Corinne is right now, she's working on the cranium. She's basically doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm just working on teeth. She's working on the cranium. She's right now picking off, it probably looks like she's picking off pieces of bone. It's not. That's actually bacteria that we've been purposely growing on the skull for the last year. And now that we're ready to put her through her final cleaning, now we have to pull all that bacteria off. So she's actually picking off all the final bacteria. And there's a lot of it, so it's going to take us all day.
All day. That's Florentino would say, all day, every day.
All day? Well, hopefully not every day. Not bad.
Where's the rest of the body?
We did not receive the rest of the body, so they kept it. What they did with it, I do not know.
All right, you're in the
I'm digging these sponges. These sponges are pretty good.
You are just full of excellent ideas.
Well, we needed to scrub her hard, but not scratch her up.
Like abrasively.
So I was afraid that's why I bought so many. I'm like, by the end, we're going to be just ripping these sponges to pieces. They're actually
They're sturdy. I have those as
Yeah.
well.
really holding together really well.
Let's see how it works on the headpiece.
We got 9 of them.
There's a lot of like leftover spongy stuff in this thing that's here.
That's cool.
You know, like it's not really. It's really soft, and I guess.
What happened to the skin?
The skin that was on the skull or the rest of her body?
the skull?
All the stuff, all the flesh was removed and disposed of. We actually removed all the skin the very first day she was here. It was the very first thing we did. Look at that.
You want me to get paper towel?
Graceful. No, I'm okay.
I know you think we're covered in plague right now, but it's not that bad.
As Corinne says before she pulls out with food poisoning tomorrow.
I'm not eating it.
You were the one who was just sick, too.
I know. But I was sick because the weather was trying to kill me. I'm actually still sniffly because of all the pollen, though. I'm literally...
Is all you do is clean bones?
Yeah.
All we do here at the Science Center, you mean, or all we do today?
I think they mean it all together.
Science Center.
No, this is just a project we've been working on over the past year. Corinne is actually one of our animal interpretation associates here. So she is usually doing all our animal presentations and all that kind of good stuff. And I work with Corinne.
I work with you, Fred.
Look at this.
Make a janitor out of you yet.
It's working. What's that?
Make a janitor out of you yet.
A janitor?
You're so good at cooking.
Oh, a janitor.
What do you think I said?
I heard jantor. Yeah, I don't know what a jantor is.
Janitor.
I'm not nearly as hip as you, so if you...
Yes, I am very with it.
I know you're with it because you used the phrase with it.
Yeah. Remember, I put my ID in that box.
What kind of macaw is it?
It is a green-winged macaw.
It's a stuffed animal.
Does the macaw fly around the room?
No, they actually trim his flight wings, which doesn't hurt him at all. It's just kind of like trimming a fingernail. They grow back. That prevents him from just flying all over the place. Obviously, him flying around in such a small space would be really dangerous to him because he'd just be constantly crashing into things.
Does Mickey ever come out of the lab?
He does. Usually they do a presentation once or twice a day called Meet the Macaw, where you can see Mickey a little bit closer up. But that is not happening today because today we're doing our hippopotamus skull cleaning, which is one time only.
How old is Mickey?
They're
33 years old.
How long have you been working on the hippo?
We've been working on the Hippo for just almost exactly 13 months now. 14 months. We first received her and began working on her May 30th, 31st of last year.
Are you cleaning teeth or what is it?
I am cleaning teeth. Corinne is cleaning the cranium, which is the top half of the skull. He just has it flipped upside down right now. But eventually it all needs to get cleaned.
What are you guys doing?
We are cleaning a hippopotamus skull, or the final clean before her whitening begins today, because she's eventually going to be going on display here for Guest of the Science Center. Pretty happy with how these teeth are turning out.
Hopefully the rest of her comes out that night.
It should. It's the same exact process. A little bit more jaggedy. We'll get it. We'll get in there. We have to ruin some sponges. We'll ruin some sponges.
Oh no. You know what you should have got? A pipe cleaner. Those ones for bottles.
We have pipe cleaners.
So you like put it in the-
That's what?
So we could like put them in the hole.
You can probably get you some pipe cleaners. There's a bunch on my desk.
For over there.
Maybe when you go out, when you come back from break, inside the little garage door on the top shelf, like a whole pack of like black pipe cleaners.
I feel like they'd be a good soft scrubby substance.
Sounds good to me. And I do have our famous wire here as well. And we have the cutting tool.
Who take a guess and say this part of this tooth has never ever been kicked at? Because it was literally dug out right after it.
While you're here.
That's why I'm here.
Oh. Going great.
It's going.
We got 7 people watching from home, work, or wherever. We've had lots of questions outside.
Gonna do some close-up stuff.
Not big enough.
Want to describe for the folks at home a little bit about what you're doing, Corinne? Close up. You can move the microphone closer to Corinne. That's for close it up on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. So right now I'm currently just scraping off all this lovely bacteria that we've cultivated over the last couple of months. We use that bacteria to try and eat away all the extra fleshy stuff that was on her. And now we got to take it all off before we put her in her lovely peroxide bath so she can be nice and pretty and white.
Can we maybe show them some of all the bacteria, all the stuff that you scraped off on the table so you can really get an idea?
It's like Christmas here.
All this white stuff.
Move some of it with your hand. Oh, bacteria.
Good stuff.
What? Oh, wow.
I did a terrible job cleaning this molar.
Got overconfident, Fred.
Can the teeth break a rhino's horn? With the, yeah.
Really?
Can the teeth of the hippo break a rhino's horn?
I don't know that's ever happened.
Technically, it could.
Yeah.
The horn is keratin, and this is bone.
I guess, although I would think it would break.
I don't know how that
snap off
happened.
totally rather than snap it in half. I don't think anyone knows the true answer to that question.
Why don't you hypothesize, Fred? Give your best guess.
My guess would be that both would probably be in a lot of pain.
Well, at least the teeth are definitely harder.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the physics of how that would happen.
It would never happen, of course. But if you were to attempt,
If a rhino was charging at a hippo with
And
its
just
mouth
bit.
open, and the hippo bit down at, I think both would be,
Unhandled.
it would be bad for everybody involved.
things would happen.
Yeah. Fortunately, I don't think that really happens too frequently in the lab.
Then again, a lot of people didn't think that giraffes fight the way they do.
They do, though. Usually they're fighting other giraffes.
All right, yeah, I guess that's true.
Get into a deep discussion here of African megafauna.
It's a good topic. We're teaching things, learning, whatever.
These are always popular questions, big questions.
Who's
Who versus who would you? I think there was even, was there a show on that?
Yeah.
Or what, that like, that's exactly what it was? It was like beef versus beef or whatever.
Yeah, it was like bee versus ant kind of stuff.
But they would even have like, and they would build like mechanical simulations of the animals, and then they would do like a CGI thing at the end.
I have seen this show. And there's another show that's just like that where they actually will show like video of it happening like in the wild. So they're like, oh, okay, so we have tarantula versus turtle. Something
Well, they would
crazy.
do like crazy things, like great white shark versus saltwater crocodile.
Right, right. I'm just not creative. I know they do cool stuff, but
Rhino versus elephant doesn't happen.
Can you say before and after shot of the tooth real quick? Just hold it right up to the. So that's a before.
So you won't really get the after until
those two
next week,
teeth.
a week from today. So these guys, you can really, I wish we showed them earlier, but these have really, just from scraping all the bacteria off of them and really giving them a good scrub with the soap, you can really start to see this is pretty much down to the natural color of this tooth. So really this is exactly the process we're doing with the whole skull today. Obviously it's a lot easier with these big teeth because it's nice and smooth than what Corinne's working on over there. But eventually the whole goal is that by the end of today, the entire thing will look like this, and then she'll go on a peroxide, and in about a week's time, she'll be pure white. And there'll be no spelling. You've been able to check and see if we have any comments? Or
Yeah, we keep an eye out. No comments yet.
I told everyone at home, got some comments, we'll just bear with us if it takes us a while to answer.
Want to see that?
Want to ask what? He wants to know why you're cleaning it without any skin?
Oh, actually, when we first got her, she did have skin. But the very first thing we did was remove all the skin. Because the goal was to remove everything, and that just makes the whole process faster if we can remove all that skin. And the hippopotamus, her skin was very, very thick.
So you're cleaning a hippo skin?
What about the hippo skin?
Cleaning a hippo skin?
Can you eat it?
Oh, hippo.
Are you cleaning the hippo skin?
Oh, no, I'm cleaning it too.
There ain't no skin left.
In long gone.
Way to do it.
All this black stuff on this tooth. This is not the bacteria that we've been talking about cleaning today. That's just stuff that was on the natural stain on her bone. So this is,
Why does hippo have giant teeth?
what was the question exactly?
Why does the hippo have giant teeth?
Why does the hippo have giant teeth? Well, hippopotamus have giant teeth because they use them for the males, they use them especially to fight with each other, and all of them have it to defend themselves against some of the big predators that walk around in Africa, especially, sure you guys have heard of Nile crocodiles and things like that, right?
Why do they fight each other?
The males fight each other, they fight each other pretty much for the girls. They fight over the girls.
Why are there bad hippos and good hippos?
Well, I don't think any of them are necessarily bad or good. They're just hippos doing things hippos do. They're only bad when we get too close to them, but that's really our fault.
Why is a bird in there?
He lives in here. He's our unofficial assistant today. I think he thinks all you guys out there are here to see him.
Can you say hi to my friend's sister? That she's living here.
Hello.
Just shouting.
She's nervous. I'm asking her to say something. Say something now.
I think that's too loud for their control back there with the lower their mic.
I think it's just because they're shouting.
Everybody, a big thank you to our social media guru, Joe Galvo, who's working your camera right now, showing you around our room here.
Is there a giant octopus around here?
Inside here, no, there's no giant octopus. Giant octopus are native usually to the Pacific Ocean, Northwest Pacific.
Why are you wearing a black shirt?
I'm trying to stay as stylish as possible. And black requires the least amount of thought.
Why is it difficult to get a giant octopus?
What about giant octopus? Why are we talking about giant octopus?
No, because... Okay.
She's like, stop.
Does hippo attack other animals?
They do in defense of themselves, yes. Hippopotamus are very aggressive.
What if a tiger attacks it?
Well, I don't think they attack tigers because they don't live in the same place.
They do because they live in the forest.
Well, hippos live in Africa and tigers live in Asia.
Never mind.
Maybe he meant lion.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Now.
Like being tested here.
Yeah, seriously, you are just in the firing zone. Why are you wearing a black shirt, Fred?
Testing all our animal knowledge. Octopus and tigers and everything in here.
I was gonna say, those tigers are from India. One of those archaeological little brushes.
Like Indiana Jones style.
Exactly. Just to,
They have one in, they do have to begin in Jurassic Park too, right?
yeah, they've been
That's what,
playing all the Jurassic Parks the past couple nights. One of my favorites.
Yeah, that movie really, that's been that's time. That movie's still good.
It's so great. And it's historically inaccurate, but it's still awesome.
It's totally not accurate to the real history of what went down at Jurassic Park. It was
I don't mean
not-
that. I meant all those dinosaurs are typically from the Cretaceous, not Jurassic.
Yeah,
But you can't say Cretaceous Park. You would rather say Jurassic Park. And let's be honest, who was really going to check?
And some of them were Cretaceous. Or Jurassic, I mean.
Some, yeah.
There's a Stegosaurus in the second one. So this is Jurassic.
Maybe someone caught on, they had to add pertinent animals.
Brachiosaurus. I believe that's
Brachiosaurus? Is it, which one doesn't exist anymore? Brachiosaurus or Brontosaurus?
Brontosaurus is now a Patasaurus.
Right. Because they mixed some bones together when they...
Well, what happened is someone discovered the name Apatosaurus, and then someone discovered the name Brontosaurus, and they later found out it was the same animal. So whoever named it first gets to keep the name.
Right. Alright. Pick this up.
Yeah.
Let's pick this up.
Welcome again, everybody watching on our webcam here. Today we are doing our final clean of our hippopotamus skull. I'm sure some of you have been following our YouTube videos. If not, you can check them out, see kind of what got us here over the last 6-7 months or so. Today is the last day we are really doing an in-depth clean. We have to get off all the bacteria that have been growing on the skull. And of course, anybody who's been watching knows that we've actually been purposely growing that bacteria in order to get as much of the flesh off as possible. So now that it's all off, we want to get all that bacteria off. There's quite a bit of it. You've got lots of cracks and crevices. Once we finish that, at the very end of the day today, she will be going in her hydrogen peroxide bath. That hydrogen peroxide bath is going to kill any remaining smell, along with turning her the beautiful white that we want her to be when she goes out on display. And then in a week from today, or just about, we'll pull her out. We'll probably need a few hours to put her back together. We need to reattach all the teeth that we pulled or came out naturally over time. And then once that's complete, she will be making her debut on our brand new Animal Artifacts cart sometime in early or mid-August. And what's going to be really neat about that is not only will you be able to come and see her here at Liberty Science Center, she won't be behind glass or anything. You'll literally be able to walk right up to her and actually touch her. All right, Crane, you want to switch? You want to take over the sink for a little bit?
Okay.
Get your cranium in there?
Right.
I think we're done with these teeth. I'm going to put them right in the bin. I mean, to be honest, this was by far and away the easiest of the jobs. I just want to get it over with. So
Okay, I know you're slackers.
That's why we're in here today.
Look at that.
Gentle. You need to really position her much like that. You know how to use the. You know how to do all that good stuff.
I do all the time.
All right, I'll do some actual work today. This guy fills up with donuts and donuts.
Question.
Go ahead.
When was the hippopotamus caught? Like, when did you catch it?
We didn't catch it. She actually came from a zoo in Ohio. And when she passed away from natural causes, they actually donated the skull to us. So this hippopotamus did not come out of the wild. We didn't hunt her or anything like that.
Oh, okay. When did she pass away?
She passed away in early May of 2013.
Oh, so recent. Okay.
Last May.
How old was she?
She was 58 years old, which at the time made her the second oldest hippo in North America. So she was very old. Typically, in the wild, hippopotamus don't really live much past their 30th birthday if they even get to that far. So at 58 years of age, she was very old. Even in captivity, they typically don't live much past 45 or so. Give me a little squirt of water on that. What? Dive into all this stuff here in the back. I might be able to scrub a lot of this off.
That's what I was thinking. A lot of the white comes off.
We have any questions from home?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me check.
Also, out of curiosity, what time is it?
It is 12:60.
Not too bad. We definitely have at least 3 more hours before work. The good part about all this huge colony of white bacteria, it comes right off.
Yeah.
It comes off really. There's hardly any picking at all.
There is a question, Fred. Someone is wondering, since it has been soaking, creating bacteria, does the skull have a smell?
That's a great question. So someone from home wants to know if that bacteria actually makes her smell. Initially, she smelled a lot, especially when there was a lot of flesh on her for the bacteria to really feed on. That's when the bacteria was its most active. And she was really decomposing with all that bacteria. She did have a strong smell. Over the last few months, we've really kind of gotten down to where there's been very little material on her, which as a result means there's less bacteria. She does have a smell to her. I've been working with her so long, I barely notice it at this point. Corinne was saying earlier that she barely notices it anymore as well. It's not a pleasant smell, but it's probably not nearly as bad as you would expect it to be. It's not overpowering at all or anything like that.
When I first smelled her,
Yeah, but she certainly smells a lot less than she did, say, a year ago or even 6 months ago.
for reals.
We also kind of helped ourselves out a little bit with the smell today. Before we brought her up here for this, we brought her outside to kind of really hose down all the loose stuff, especially kind of putting the hose nozzle inside all the cavities and blowing out all the loose stuff. And a lot of that would have caused the smell, so by doing that, we kind of helped ourselves out a little bit today, so all that loose gunk isn't here smelling because we got rid of it earlier. But as Micro would say, it is a dirty job.
Fred, can you talk a little bit about the Animal Artifacts program and what it is here?
Sure. So Animal Artifacts is a program we had here for many years at the Science Center where we showcase what we call biofacts, which are things like snake shed, animal skulls, turtle shells, things like that. So maybe not living animals, but things that correspond to living animals. And we like to talk a lot about adaptation and how some of those objects help the animals in life, or in the case of things like feathers, even while they were still alive. We actually are going to be bringing that activity back, that program back. It's going to be getting its own cart, its own traveling cart. It's going to be our animal artifact traveling cart. It will be debuting in August, sometime in August. And the big feature of that is we will be having our hippopotamus skull right on top of it. And what even cool, we're going to have other animal skulls along with her. So you'll be able to take a look at, say, comparing the skull of a bobcat or the skull of a deer, and then seeing the sheer size of the skull, of the hippopotamus skull. One of the really great things about animal artifacts is we only show real items. None of them are models, none of them are molds or anything like that. And what's really great about it is we don't just show it to you, we allow people to come all the way up and actually touch, and most of the time even hold a lot of those items. So it's very, very personal. You can really investigate, really get a good look at a lot of those things. And the reason why we do that is it kind of gives a real window into animal adaptation. It will be on a cart, so theoretically it can travel anywhere in the science center. And it's going to be a wonderful resource for us here. There's no reason to pick at this. I literally just wiped it once with a sponge and it came right off.
That's why I wasn't doing that.
Well, I mean, this is why you're better than me. That's why everyone likes you on Twitter and all that more than me.
I wouldn't say that.
But you'll think it.
I would. So, Corinne, what's been your favorite part of doing this project?
Favorite part? I don't know. I mean, Fred's been kind of sick of it. I've actually enjoyed every part of it.
I've also been doing it twice as long.
Exactly. So he got sick of it. Now it's still fun for me.
Why don't you give them a little bit of, you may know this for one thing. Give them a little bit of, people at home, a little bit of your background. How you ended up here, scraping a hippopotamus skull.
How did I end up here? Well, I went to school for biology. That's what my degree is in. And then I came here to volunteer in the hopes for a job. And I was actually working the Animal Artifacts program when Fred just so happened to walk by. And he was asking, do you have any questions or anything like that? And I asked if you were getting anything new. And he said, I'm actually working on hippopotamus skull. And I kind of jumped at that, and I was like, do you need help with that? Like, I can totally help you. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'd love a lot of help. And he went, he checked my resume and all that stuff, and here I am.
How about a little bit of
Hello, where are the teeth?
The teeth, a lot of the teeth we actually already cleaned. We finished them up earlier.
They clean the teeth.
So they're actually in here.
Yeah, show them some teeth.
So that's one of the big incisors. This is one of her tusks. And this would be an example of one of the molars. A little bit bigger than the ones you guys have, right? So we actually finished cleaning these earlier, so that's why they're already finished.
What type of solution are you using to do the cleaning?
Right now, we're a lot of dry picking, just picking it off with a lot of these little scrapers. We actually prefer using just dish soap. It's really good because it's for cleaning dishes at home. It's really great at degreasing and all that stuff, and there's a lot of oils and grease on her, so I find it works great. Once we're done, give me another little glass of water. Once we're done cleaning, doing the clean today, she's actually going to go into a solution of hydrogen peroxide, and that's actually going to be what's going to completely eliminate any remaining smell along with turning her the perfect white we want her for display.
What did you want me to delve into before?
I was going to say, why don't you give everyone at home an idea of your journey prior to Liberty Science?
How much of a journey?
No? You were in South Africa.
Oh, you mean like that kind of stuff?
How do I know your story better than you?
How did he die?
Oh, man.
How did he die? Just try not to scream at us, guys. The speaker's right
We can
there.
hear you.
She died of natural causes. She was very old when she passed away. She was 58 years of age, which for a hippo is very old. In captivity, they usually don't live much past their like 45 or so. So she passed away of natural causes.
Where did they live?
Where did hippos live, or where did this hippo live? This hippo or hippos in general?
Where do hippos live in general?
Hippos are from Africa. It's one of those things like, look at all this great stuff we pulled off, and then you're like, wow, we still have a lot to
There's
do.
so much more.
We were not even close. I did the horse by myself, and that took me an entire day.
Snap. Oh, dang.
And the horse, a horse is big, but it's literally a quarter of the size of this skull.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least there's two of us, but it's still going to take all day.
Okay. We signed up.
You signed up.
I signed up for it. Whatever. Fine.
I guess technically I signed up
You
for it.
technically did too.
Even I didn't know what I signed up for when I signed up for it. How's it going with the sink?
A lot it's coming off. Definitely needs like scrubbing.
Yeah. You can give it a scrub. You can scrub it.
What kind of fossil is that?
This is actually not a fossil. It's the skull of a hippopotamus.
Really?
Really it is, yes. I'm working on the bottom jaw. You guys can't see the top because it's inside the sink. We're working on it right now.
Rick, can you just point out the some of the things on the mandible for the folks at home?
Sure, so to kind of give you a tour of the mandible here. So this being the front and this is the back. So this is kind of the hinge that comes up and would hook onto the cranium. This is one of her tusks. So these are the tusks that are used for defense and all that kind of good stuff. This was a female, so they probably didn't do too much fighting amongst each other. There are the molars, and you can see some of the molars are still here. Some of them we removed because you can see some of them are really loose. If they're loose and we can reasonably pull them out without doing any damage, we actually do that because inside the sockets a lot of gum likes to hide, so we want to get that out. A couple of neat features about her, because she was such an old hippopotamus, she had a lot of geriatric type issues or issues that you might see in an older hippo. This tusk here is actually not removed. You might be able to see in there it was actually broken or snapped off at some point in her life, so you can kind of see the root is still remaining in there. She also has this big bump that you may have noticed. This is just like a tumor or a growth that grew in her mouth. And again, just one of those side effects of being very, very old. These are the types of things that absolutely would have hampered her in the wild, but of course, since she is from captivity, she lived a long and enjoyable life despite having some of these types of injuries.
It's fun. I was reading about Bubbles last night, and so the birth of her second cat was one of the first.
Puddles.
Puddles,
The
yeah.
birth of Puddles.
The birth of Puddles
Oh,
was the
that's
first
great.
ever filmed underwater.
And it was done right in view of public zoo guests.
Yeah, apparently it was also a huge surprise. I read this. Yeah,
Sounds familiar.
the zoo didn't realize she was pregnant. I guess she just started going into labor.
Right there.
Right in front of all the guests.
So as far as hippos go, Bubbles is one of the more famous hippos, I suppose. I like to say about the work we've been doing on the skull, and it's been really interesting for the people who've been following our YouTube videos or are watching today to see us do this. But But really, I like to think of, she lived such a long life in captivity where she entertained and educated guests for over half a century. And really, this is just kind of almost like the next step of that journey where it doesn't end. So now from all the work we're doing, she's going to be able to continue to educate and entertain people for really almost forever, which I think is a really kind of a neat thing that she's going to be able to have that kind of reach. Not only did she have that in life, but she's going to have that after. Whenever you're working on the growth, by the way, be careful because it's really fluffy, delicate.
You say the growth was really delicate?
Yeah, it's very, very delicate, very thin bone, because it's not skeletal bone or anything. It's a growth, so it's the bone is very, very thin. And even though it's an abnormality, I think it's part of her story. It's an interesting thing, so we're really trying to do our best to maintain it. So it
It's like a teeth, right? Teeth holes?
No, the growth, the tumor.
Where is it?
Here.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you meant these really thin edges.
Oh, I mean, be careful with that too, but I meant specifically the bone around this is very, very thin, very delicate. If you scrub it hard, it will break.
Did it? I scrubbed it.
So just to kind of, for anybody from home who, or anybody who's watching outside is wondering how we got here today, we acquired this hippopotamus a little bit over a year ago with the goal of cleaning her down to bone. She came fully fleshed, which means all her skin and everything was still on it. So we had to remove all that. The method we used is something called cold water maceration, which is a really fancy scientific name that essentially means we put her in warm bacteria bath. So basically we put her in a bin of water, we heat it, and we allow the bacteria to grow. And the bacteria that grows then in the water will actually eat away at all the flesh and material and slowly kind of help clean it for us. That, as you can imagine, on a skull of this size, that had all its flesh, that process took quite a bit of time. She was almost completely defleshed within about 6 months. However, one thing we didn't anticipate for, and why we're still working on it here today, is that a lot of the material deep inside the bone, especially deep in the mandible, this bone's very thick, a lot of the nerve material that was in there, there's really no way to get in there and get it out. There's no tool that could reach all that deep in. So we essentially just had to sit and wait for most of it to rot to a point where we could scoop it out or blast it out with water. So that took by itself about 5 months just to do that. Now that we're here, we have all the flesh off. The stuff we're picking off is all that bacteria we had grown to get rid of the flesh, but now we have to get rid of the bacteria before we put her in her peroxide because it will help give her that nice real white pattern. We don't want any specks of anything on her. We want her to look as clean as possible. So we're going to be spending all day today getting all that bacteria off, scrubbing her, scraping, scrubbing, scraping, back and forth. We'll also, as we scrub, we'll get a lot of the, some of the discoloration off of her alone. Still, even though she's bone, there's a lot of still the oils and grease still on her, so we'll be working on getting all that off. And then at the end of today, she's going to go in her whitening bath. The bath we're putting her in is a hydrogen peroxide solution. And that peroxide solution she will sit in for about a week. And that solution will eliminate any smell, so when you do come and see her here at Liberty Science Center, she will have no smell. And it will also turn her the classic, beautiful white that you would expect a skull to be. And she should be making her public debut in early to mid-August.
Hi.
Hello. How many people do we have watching at home right now?
We have 6 viewers at home, 7 viewers at home.
7 viewers at home. I don't know who's viewing at home, but if any of you are Rider University students, we loved having you here last week. I'm so glad you could join us, even if you're joining us by webcam, if you're there. Thank you again so much. We love having you. Great job last week.
Fred, we have a question from home. Is this the process we use for all of our skeletal displays? Or is it always this hands, and is it always this hands-on?
A lot of the skulls and bones we've acquired that we show here, really the only place we show much as far as skeletons and things like that is at the Animal Artifacts program, which will be on that cart. A lot of it we acquire, it's already complete, it's already been whitened and made and all that, so we don't have to do this. We have done some work on this in the on some skulls in the past. I know I've referenced it a few times, but the one previously, a couple years ago, we did a young horse skull, and it is pretty much always this hands-on. I mean, she came fully fleshed, so the process was very long, so we had to do all of it, and just from her sheer size. There really is no way to do it without getting a little dirty. So there's going to be, if you have a skull that you ever want to prepare it, you're going to be scraping, you're going to be getting a little, you're going to be smelling it. That's part of the fun, right? It's part of the process. It's good to kind of get that hands-on learning. I don't have a brush, but the sponge seems to work all right.
Right? Like I just want one of those little archaeological.
Just a little, almost like an umpire at home plate is like a little brush.
I'm going to go do lunch with Carrie, but the camera's pointed. Camera's pointed.
I have nothing.
It's pointed at the speaker.
Yeah. No, so it's pointed exactly at you.
All right. When are you going to head out?
Maybe 1 o'clock.
12:30ish maybe?
Yeah, 1 o'clock we'll go eat, and then
Alright, guys. I'll go.
bring back whatever you want.
Over here. Oh, if you want those pipe cleaners, you can bring them.
There's so much of it just in like little nooks.
That's exactly where bacteria likes to grow, right?
I mean, like most of it is off, just the rest of it is like literally digging everything up.
Yep. Having fun yet?
What are the different parts of the skull?
The part I'm working on right now is your lower jaw. It would be, it's called the mandible. The top half is called the cranium. You guys can't probably see it too well right now because Corinne has it in the sink because she's scrubbing it. Those are really the main 2 parts. Of course, then there's teeth associated with that. We already finished most of the teeth, so that's why you don't see them out on the table. There's not a lot of features to show you guys. On the bottom part, on the top part, obviously that's where they have the brain case and the eye sockets and the nose and all that kind of good stuff. But throughout the day, probably in a little bit, we'll switch. So we'll scrub this part, and that part will come out, and she'll pick at that. we'll be going back and forth like that throughout the day.
Why are you cleaning it?
We're cleaning this because eventually we're going to be putting it on display here at the Science Center. Not only on display, but actually available for guests just like yourself to come up and touch and kind of take a look at. So we need to get her all beautiful and white and ready for display before we can do that. And this is the last day, the last cleaning day. So it's our biggest cleaning day where we have to get every single little speck off.
Where did you get the skull?
This was donated by the Toledo Zoo of Ohio.
How long do hippos usually live for?
That's a great question. In the wild, they typically only live to be about 30 years of age. In captivity, they might live up to 45 years of age. What's really neat about the one we're working on right now is when she passed away, she was the second oldest hippo living in North America. So when she passed away, she was actually 58 years old, which for a hippo is very, very old.
These bacteria colonies are hard to rock.
Are they bacteria then?
Yeah,
Are hippos dangerous?
but they've been there for so long.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Are hippos dangerous?
Hippos are very dangerous. Many people consider them to be one of, if not the most dangerous animal in Africa, more dangerous than lions and things like that, because they're so big and powerful, and they're very territorial, so they can be very aggressive.
Are hippos stronger than lions?
Hippo is definitely much stronger than a lion. Even a big adult male lion with that big mane and all that, he would look very, very small next to a full-grown hippopotamus, which could weigh several tons and be close to 20 feet in length.
How old was the oldest hippo?
I don't know how old the oldest one was. She was 58, and she was the second oldest in North America at the time. Only one that was older than her was also 58. It was only a couple months older than her. But I don't know what the record age is for a hippo.
Anya, can you answer that? Anyone want to answer quickly?
Are you a zoologist or a paleontologist?
I'm actually a zoologist. So this might be kind of look like something a paleontologist would do, though. Paleontologists usually work on animals that are fossils. So they might be doing something very similar, except they'd be picking at loose rock on fossils rather than bacteria on bone. But it definitely would probably be very similar tools.
Where do hippos live?
Hippos are native to the African continent.
Have you ever been to Africa?
I haven't, but Corinne has. Corinne actually spent some time in South Africa working with, were you tagging?
Tagging, genetic sampling.
Tagging great white sharks, believe it or not.
population, we control, not control, but
To go to Africa?
What was the question?
Do you want to go to Africa?
Sure, I would like to go to Africa.
Africa's a continent, you gotta pick a country.
I think higher on my list, I'd really like to go to the Galapagos. I think would be the first place I'd want to go. But I would be interested in going to Africa.
Bye,
Bye. Thank you.
Adorable.
What is Corinne cleaning?
Karina, so I'm working right now on the bottom of the skull. She's actually working on the top. So the top part is called the cranium. And she actually has it in the sink right now because she's scrubbing it with the water. We are probably 12:40. Our wonderful volunteer out there, can you just tell us what time it is?
1:45.
1:45.
1:45? 12:45.
12:45.
Oh my God.
We need that hour. I'm gonna say we're doing good, but not if it's 1:45.
How long does this take?
We started early this morning and we'll probably be going till it's done.
Dylan's done.
That's really the unfortunate answer is we might be doing this for 2 more hours, we might be doing this for 4 more hours. I hope it's closer to the 2.
Are they in danger?
Hippopotamus are not necessarily endangered, though they are, their populations are decreasing in some parts of their range.
moving forward and my head hits the plastic thing.
Yeah, that extra 2 weeks of growth didn't help at all. So it was going to be a big project, no matter what.
I love this dentist.
Yeah, those things are great. I did all the teeth with those things.
But they're pretty much designed to.
Yeah, it's great for getting those little scissors. Bacteria is.
Oh, bacteria.
You were our friend up until today.
Yeah.
Now we're turning on it.
Perhaps she could have, thinking back, could have put her in a, a dawn silky bath to sit and kill everything-ish.
Probably wouldn't have been a bad idea. Where were you like last week with that idea?
Okay, well, I didn't know first. Hindsight is always 20/20.
It might help. I mean, really, I'm not
Is that
sure.
the head?
This is the skull, yes. It would have killed maybe the bacteria, but I'm not sure it would have necessarily taken it off. We just would have still been scraping maybe.
Can you tell the size of a hippo by the size of its skull?
Can you tell the size of what?
Can you tell the size of a full hippo by the size of its skull?
Well, this was a full-grown hippo. She was a female, so she doesn't get as big as the males do. I don't really know how old she was. I mean, obviously because she had a, bigger head would mean bigger animal, but I don't know what her weight was in life.
How big was the hippo?
I'm not sure how large she was. She was a female, so she doesn't get as big as the males. She was full-grown. She was an adult. Hippos, really large hippos, can get to be close to 20 feet in length, and they can weigh several tons. Do you need help there?
Not to get the water that's coming out.
Probably close to 1 o'clock. Anybody watching on our webcam again, just bear with us. You can send in any questions you have by commenting on our video feed. Just bear with us if it takes us a little while to respond. We have to wait for our social media guru, Joe, who's popping in and out to help us out, because obviously myself and Corinne can't be touching the computer. But we will get to them. Looking pretty good over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just coming down to stuff being stuck in, like, the microcracks.
Yep. But when you do this stuff, it's like...
Where did you get the hippopotamus from?
This hippopotamus came from the Toledo Zoo of Ohio. It's almost like the whole process, where like the first hour you get like 80% of it off, but then it's 4 hours of getting the last 20%. definitely think I'm gonna make hippo pins.
Yes, I've been wanting a hippo pin.
You're getting one.
Yes.
You're in.
Yeah, I get to have a pin.
You get to have a pin.
I've spent so many
The
time.
four members of Team Hippo. I think Joe's an honorary member. He's definitely in.
He's been there through all the steps and galore.
How's it going, Darren?
Oh, thanks, Greg. You guys.
We're doing all right.
We recording?
We are always live.
Great.
Everybody at home, this is our wonderful herp keeper, Darren, just walked in.
You
Not
guys.
herky.
He's not?
He's not.
Well, the amount will be back when we start.
What are you today?
Stay out and keep up. I guess you can look at that people.
He is a herp keeper, everybody. Herp standing for herpetological, meaning reptiles and amphibians.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Very confident.
Yep.
Stressed up.
It's like being in a fishbowl.
You guys progressing?
Yeah, we're actually. I thought we made really great progress outside with the hose. I think we got so much stuff off. I think we legitimately saved ourselves 90 minutes outside. There's just really no fast way to do this. You just gotta scrape and scrub and scrape and scrub. Yeah, like dental. We've got dental tools going on, and just picks and your average, dissection kit.
Makes sense, though. Like, how would be the tools that you use?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, it was a great thing for everybody at home, everybody outside. So actually, the tools we're using to scrape all this stuff off are different kind of dental picks, and different kind of tweezers and scrapers and things like that you classically see in a dissection kit for anyone who's in maybe biology class back at high school or anything like that.
Getting there, Bubbles, getting there. One heck of a play. Putting up one heck of a play.
I think we're winning.
Thank you.
I think she wants to be finished. She's tired of being in the basement.
She wants me to. Ouch. Or it won't take too long.
Take as long as you need. Do you want to take like the one bottle of Dawn with you? Okay.
We should Instagram my back scars.
Your what?
From putting my hand in her mandible to shoot stuff out. It didn't look that bad before. Alright, I'm gonna have to steal my phone. I know you've been loving this music. Maybe I can make a playlist.
Alright. Maybe you can put on, I don't know, if like 104.3 will come in or anything like classic rock.
So.
Sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't.
I searched. Okay.
So like 104.3 4.3?
Around 3.4.
This is definitely not it. All right, see you in a minute. Can you do me a favor, pull my mic out and check the batteries?
Got two.
Okay. Thank you.
Stop shaving.
How big is the skull?
How big is the skull? I haven't weighed her. The part I'm working on right now is actually just the lower jaw, so this isn't even half of it. The cranium, it's actually the rest of it's in the sink because it's soaking right now. So this right here is probably only about a third of the size, so you can imagine just how she sits about that big when she's all put together, and she's about that long. But I actually haven't weighed her yet. We'll weigh her when we're finished with the whole process.
Do you happen to know when this will be out and ready to be touched?
Yeah, we're looking at mid to July, August. I think we've kind of penciled in August 9th, Saturday, August 9th. But once she's out, she should be out pretty much every day.
Do you know how old Mickey is?
Mickey is 33 years old. For anyone watching at home who keeps probably wondering why I occasionally am answering questions about our macaw, we have a green-winged macaw who spends most of his day in this lab space. And he's not on the camera right now, he's actually off to what would be your right, but occasionally some of the guests are outside are asking me about the macaw, so that's why it might seem very random to everyone watching online why all of a sudden we're occasionally talking about green-winged macaws. So at the moment, he's sleeping.
Do you know where his species is found?
Yep, he's South American.
So why does all the bacteria have to be off of it before you peroxide it?
The cleaner you get it when you peroxide it, it will just help that process. If you leave too much bacteria on it, it might look spotted. You might get some slight discoloration. So the cleaner she is when she goes in for whitening, just the better it will work. It will just look that much cleaner, that much whiter. And we've invested so much time and effort into her, she's going to be on display that we want to be as thorough as we possibly can.
Fred, if we hit 10, I'm buying a round.
Ha! That sounds great to me.
How did you get the flesh off?
That's a great question. We actually use, when she first came in, we removed as much as possible, removing the skin, things like that. We did that using saws and knives and stuff. As far as the nitty-gritty of getting every single speck off, we actually use a process called cold water maceration, which is a big sciencey word that essentially means we put her in a bacteria bath. And we let the bacteria, we put her in a bath, we get the water nice and warm, and we allow the bacteria to grow, and it actually will eat at the flesh and remove it for us. And every 2 weeks or so, we would go in and refresh the water and pick off any of the loose stuff. It's a very effective method of cleaning skulls and bones. It is very time-consuming, though, but it's really the only method we had available to us here, just due to just her sheer size. The equipment we would need to have to do other methods just really wouldn't have worked for us. So all told, that process took about a year.
You didn't use any beetles though, right?
No, we get asked frequently why we don't use the domestic beetles. The beetles are probably the most thorough method for cleaning a skull. However, they actually give off kind of a dust, and unless you have like a hood or an HVAC system with them and you really know how to care for them, they're really not great to use because they can be a little troublesome as far as human health concerns. But we stayed away from using the beetles.
After he's done with this, I'm gonna show you.
Corinne's gone, so the house music is gone.
Friends going for the day?
No, she just taking a lunch.
Oh.
I told her at the beginning, I was like, don't wait for me to say lunchtime, because we'll be waiting until like 6 o'clock. We're moving though, we're doing all right. This one's just about ready to get put in the sink and hosed off.
Nice.
If you don't mind moving the camera, I'm gonna move the mandible over to the sink. mandible. Cranium still needs a ton of work.
Yeah.
All over the front, all bacteria.
How old is it?
She was 58 years old when she passed away, which at the time made her the second oldest hippo in North America.
Why didn't you take out the skull?
Well, we want the skull available because we're eventually going to display it.
Top of the skull, right? That's the top of your cleaning in the sink?
No, I'm cleaning the bottom. This is the top. I'll turn it around so you guys can. So this is the front. Here's where her eyes would be. This is where the rest of her body would be.
Oh, wait a minute. How many animals do you take care of?
I'm actually not an animal keeper here, so technically I don't keep care of any animals. But we have lots of animals here at the center. I think we have probably close to 200 species, I bet, that live here at the science.
Where did you get the hippo skull?
The hippo skull was kindly donated by the Toledo Zoo of Ohio.
Do you know how many words the macaw says?
I've only ever heard him say hello and Mickey.
He says okay, so moving on to
A lot of the stuff in the teeth sockets.
For those of you watching at home, Some of the kids are asking questions about our macaw, Mickey, who is hanging out with us today. Say hi to the folks at home, Mickey.
I was just telling him about me, but I didn't show him. Is he up? He's awake now?
He's up, he's awake.
He was asleep for a little while.
He's hanging out.
Actually, he behaved himself pretty good. So.
I haven't heard any screeching yet. So.
No crazy squawk going on. I'm sure he's enjoying the added attention today. What's going on? What's the problem? I can't. You gotta talk in the microphone.
Yes, no problem. The guy is here.
Oh no, we want them there.
So right now, after you're cleaning out the cavities.
Yeah, there's naturally, of course, the bacteria most likes to grow in any little cracks and crevices and little pits. One of the toughest little places to get into is all these teeth sockets. So there's only really so much scraping I can do because as I scrape it, I can't then scoop it out. So I'm almost trying to scrape and blast with the water and then scrape and blast with the water. It's not a quick process, but it's really the only thing that's working for us. Fortunately, a lot of the bacteria, anything that is left, we will get 90-something% of it off by the end of the day. But it's impossible really to get 100% of it off. Fortunately, it won't, especially inside the sockets, won't be the end of the world. I'm worried about it more on the outside, so it doesn't cause any discoloration or anything. Inside, you're not going to see anyway, so as far as if it discolors spots inside a place, you're not going to see because there's going to be a tooth there. I don't really mind it, and it's not like it will. You know, if we don't get rid of it, it'll be alive in there. Because once this goes into the hydrogen peroxide bath, like I was saying earlier, it's not going into hydrogen peroxide like you might have in your medicine cabinet at home. The strength of the hydrogen peroxide is much, much more powerful than what you might have at your house. So any bacteria that's left on it will be killed immediately. So we're not too worried about that. It's more aesthetics. 10 yet?
Not yet. Still hovering at 8. So we still got time.
Steady. Do you have any questions online?
Oh, let me check.
No, it doesn't look like anything yet. Did you give the people a little background about yourself?
No.
Oh, you should.
I've been avoiding it. I've been talking up everyone else. So my name is Fred Hartman. I am the Associate Director of Guest Programming here at Liberty Science Center. Means I'm very involved in a lot of the extra programs and activities that go on the floors here at the Liberty Science Center. Additionally, I'm the head of the Animal Interpretation program here, which means I'm very involved with all the live animal presentations and all that kind of good stuff that goes on. As far as my background, I have a degree in zoology from Stony Brook University. I've been working with animals since I was pretty young. It's always been an interest of mine. I got into skulls and bones at a previous institution. I got very involved in learning about all the neat things you can learn about animals and adaptation just by doing measurements and doing skull studies. And that's how I ended up here, cleaning a hippopotamus skull. What's that? No, but it's fairly decent.
Here, something you can partially enjoy.
I don't know. Joe's probably been watching the webcast at all. Have you been watching the webcast at all?
Yeah.
Can you even hear the music?
No, it's very dim.
Okay, good.
How was lunch?
Lunch was good.
If we ever do one of these in the future, I think what I'm going to do is put up a scenario where you can hear music like when you're not talking.
Okay.
So like a real,
Fancy that.
yeah, real fancy.
How's it going over here?
What?
How's it going over here?
Good. Okay. So you're really starting to down there.
Yeah.
Are you looking to get back in the sink, or you're back to picking?
I'm back to picking.
Okay.
You can sync it up. I've noticed with that, probably where most of the sound you were hearing probably wonder what I was doing. You kind of like push really hard, those little bristles will like you have to go like this. Just like that, and like the bristles kind of actually get in the little.
Okay.
Just a helpful tool.
See all the trouble spots you're gonna have.
Oh yeah.
The front of the cranium is gonna be a pain. All the teeth sockets are gonna be a pain. These hinges are gonna be a pain. That's where all the little, so many little crevices.
Yeah. Because bone couldn't be solid; it has to be porous.
Reinforce.
Corinne, can you point that on the cranium for the folks at home where they cut out the brain?
This is where the brain was cut out. All these nice, really harsh lines are made from a saw, right? So
I would say so.
they pretty much sawed her head open, took out that lovely brain.
You can really get an idea of just how thick that bone is.
Yeah, so this lovely cuts here.
Nice.
Hello, everybody outside. How are you today? We're doing all right.
Do you happen to have one of the teeth in the steak to show them?
Corinne has one.
What is this one, an incisor?
That's an inside for you.
Take it right up to the window.
Big, right?
Maybe show them molar too, just so they
You want to talk about molar?
What is that?
Okay. You have the pick, the dental pick.
The molar.
What?
Molar.
That's a molar.
Yeah, I think right. I think so. How's your day going, Joe?
Good. That's a good example of cavities where there's a big bang, right?
Yeah, this was one of the infamous cavities where we had those veins that basically have held us up, I don't know, 4 months, 4 months of getting that
Seriously.
stuff out.
Maybe longer.
They're pretty much empty. There might be some little residual stuff out there. We'll try and blast the rest of it out later. We're just at the point with whatever's little that's in there, it's just not a concern at this point. Especially once it goes into peroxide.
As long as like 95% of it.
We're well past 95.
Okay,
We're at
98.
We're at 99.
99.
The
Okay.
Math was never my thing.
flesh on this thing.
And then what was it called? The water cleansing to get the skin off?
To get all the material off, it was a process called cold water maceration.
So that bone right there, that is the top of the skull, so that's the head, the eyeball, you see that, and then there's down here by, it's sitting right by the side, comes down. To the top, in the sink, you can see over there, he's cleaning the bottom half right over here. It is a hippopotamus. This hippopotamus was donated from the zoo in Ohio. 58 years old.
We're gonna be here a while.
There we go.
It looks like a
Yeah, because it's
original Nintendo character.
yeah, that was the back.
Thank you to our friends in the electronic field trip STEM group who let us borrow the laptop and webcam.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, thank you very much to the STEM group. Thank you for the equipment rental. We should really also thank our animal husbandry department here. This is their space that we pretty much invaded today. A lot of these tools we're also using were their tools that they're allowing us to use. We had, especially early on, a lot of help from engineering. especially outside, getting all of our big pit of water ready and to go, and getting a good drain we put onto it. They were a big help. Our friends over in Experience Integration, some of them actually donated some of their actual time, especially back on day one when she first arrived. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but as I remember them, I'll thank them.
Sure, a number of volunteers as well.
Absolutely. Well, how about today? We have some of our wonderful volunteers are actually outside, helping kind of MC our guest questions. Obviously, marketing for all their, especially Mr. Joe Gallo for all their help. And we miss Jency. Our third member of our team, Jency John. She's not here today.
Not the same crowd.
We miss you, Jency. So she's on vacation. I'm sure she's not.
Yeah, I don't think she's jealous. Though she did want to be here.
Fred, is this the largest skull you've ever worked on?
Yeah, this is I've worked on quite a few skulls. The largest previous, I know I keep referencing it, was that young horse, which is obviously, it wasn't a full-grown horse, but it was a fairly large skull. Hippopotamus being one of the largest animals really in the world, especially when it comes to land-based animals. This was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I can't imagine too many become available. So it's been a really fascinating experience working on this skull. It's been, I would say, just like all the other ones I've worked on, just everything scaled way up. It took 3 times as long as any other one I've ever worked on. It's going to take just the amount of space and effort and everything we had to do was just way scaled up. But it is going to look spectacular. Sorry about that, everybody.
I forgot to ask if you wanted me to bring back water for you or something.
No, I don't want to do any eating or drinking until I'm showered.
You're so funny. I was thinking the same thing. I was eating my lunch and I was like, the things that I'm probably covered in right now.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Did anybody even want to sit next to you?
There was no one around.
I was going to say, I'm sure you smell wonderful.
I do smell wonderful.
When you get a second, you can hold up another tooth.
Okay, you want to tell me to the incisor?
That's an incisor, everybody.
Going for molar.
You're like the Vanna White of hippopotamus teeth.
She's holding up right now.
This one. What's this one?
That's a tusk.
You want to tell them it's tusk?
That's a tusk, everybody.
Or it's nifty.
Hold up the big tusk. Hold up the big tusk.
I did.
The longest one?
Those are incisors.
Those are incisors?
Yeah. The tusks are the ones that are curled up.
I didn't know if there was another word other than tusk. I was going to say tusk.
Tusk works.
Okay. Want to be scientifically accurate, you know. was they
Shooting for
possibly
10.
looking at for like a long time?
Well, the lunchtime would have been, so kind of around now is like peak time for if you're going to watch something on the internet. This is like the time to do it. Because you're sitting at your desk, you know.
True.
Whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean, look how entertaining could it possibly be?
Pretty cool.
I mean, for more than like 10 minutes of watching you.
I mean, we're doing a knockout job compared to other things I've seen. Truthfully and honestly. At least we have someone like kind of calling the plays, you know. So this is almost like doing a dog show or like a sporting event where Fred just essentially has to talk about the same thing.
Commentator, yes.
Yeah.
You love it though.
Oh, you're doing a good job.
And everybody at home, if you do have any questions or comments or anything you want to share with us, just if you comment on our video feed, we'll be able to check that. Just bear with us if it does take us a little bit to respond to it.
Don't worry, the music has changed.
Corinne's house music is gone.
God forbid. I do. I like some of it. Not all of it. Some of it. It's because we're young, Joe. Right here, he's a little bit old.
I am. I don't hide from you.
Accept your mortality.
The scary thing is I'm probably closer to Fred's age than I am to your age.
No, I know. You just turned 28.
I did.
You're right in the middle. You good?
Don't worry, when I hang out with the volunteers, I'm pretty much a grandma to them.
You're probably kind of a big deal.
I'd like to think so. Julianne tells each and every one of them they're a big deal, but I don't.
My favorite Foo Fighters song.
Yeah?
Road to Ruin. And that's today's Fred factoid.
Fun facts about Fred.
That was definitely a
That might be the only highlight.
Unless I like, trip and fall or something. That could be a highlight.
I kind of hope you don't, though.
Me too, because we know how prone I am to accidents.
Or we avoid injuries today. Well, I did smash my ankle up pretty good. Holding this thing up inside the building before.
Really?
Yeah. And you went inside, and I went to go bring her around to hold it back.
Right?
Yeah.
See what happens
Did
when I
not
take
go
off.
super smooth.
Fred, what
It was definitely the classic Family Guy.
Except you didn't drag it out.
No.
I have a question.
I would love to answer your question.
What are the parrots that are like blue and yellow?
You're thinking blue and golden calls?
I don't
I
know.
believe it's a blue and golden call. I'm not a bird expert,
Okay.
but I believe those are blue and golden calls.
I didn't know that existed.
So,
Is there a question in that?
You have a question?
so
All right. Hello?
is the hippo skull that you're cleaning bigger or smaller than a normal hippo?
She is normal.
Well, I would say that for a female hippo, she's probably a little bit on the large side, but they would still be small compared to a male hippo.
How old is the macaw on the perch?
She is he is 33 years old.
Why do you have him here?
Oh, well, they use him occasionally for education programs.
Ah, okay. What's his name?
His name is Mickey.
Hi, Mickey.
He says hi.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I was waiting for you to get a sub.
Got one sub today.
So, actually, there was a "What's up" on Instagram. I was reading one of the comments of it.
Who's winning?
I did not check that.
I'll let you know in 1 second.
That's right. We have the guy right here.
She was ahead of me earlier, which is a bad sign.
Ruh-roh.
I'm not going to make any comebacks, so I would have to come out early.
I mean, I liked all the pictures, so I added one for all of us. Okay, wireless mission.
It's almost like being in a cave.
We really are
It's like what it's like to be.
one of the display animals.
I feel bad sometimes for the husbandry staff that you're in here. Just like we're Darren when he's
Sitting over there.
Yeah.
Poor guy. And it's funny though because sometimes to get his attention, I'll kind of like tap on the window over there. Be like,
And
he will ignore me. I
They're
know.
so used to it.
I know.
So the current Instagram.
What are you cleaning?
This is a hippopotamus skull.
Oh, okay.
Fred 24. Fred 19.
You're
Fred, you're up there.
up there
Doing okay.
more than usual.
What's sad is that means there were 5 people who saw my picture, said no, and then saw hers immediately after and said yes.
What part is that?
Which part?
The marks right there?
The one she's cleaning.
She's cleaning the top of the skull, which is called the cranium.
Fred, why don't you turn it so they
So
can see?
she's cleaning the very top, so that's the eyes, and then part that's like right near us is the part that would be the front of his mouth. He's cleaning the bottom of the jaw, so it's the bottom part, and then it's right there.
Is there a special reason you're cleaning the skull stuff?
Yeah, because we need to get all the final little bits of bacteria and everything off of it, because later today we're going to put her in her whitening bath, and after that she's going to be all clean and ready to go on to display for the public.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hello.
Where did you get the skull from?
It was donated to us from the Toledo Zoo of Ohio. Graciously donated. Toledo Zoo of Ohio, if you guys happen to be watching, thank you very much.
The bird.
Maybe a dumb question. But all the white stuff, when she gets in her peroxide bath, I mean, I know I'm trying to get, all the white
Right.
stuff off, but I know you were talking about how it like won't come out colored the right way if there's something on it.
If there's too much on it, you might get like a little spotted appearance and stuff like that. But the reality is, are we going to get every single little speck off? No.
Okay.
But we want to get as much as
I
possible.
mean, I'm getting all like the dark stuff off, but a lot of the white powdery stuff.
Yeah, you try to get off as much as possible. Especially the outside of things. Don't even worry about getting too deep into tooth sockets, because people aren't going to see it anyway, because there's going to be a tooth glued in.
There's gonna be a tooth in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. the white would actually affect it?
It doesn't help, but if there's not a ton of it, it won't
Pretty large.
be a big problem.
Bother you again, but could you show us the teeth? So those are the same teeth. They stick into the jaw. They come out like that, like gums. What?
Those are
The incisors. The incisors that go back up in here. They're huge, aren't they? Bigger than you think. And now she's gonna pull out a molar. I'm assuming molar. Right? Tusk. And this is the tusk. Tusk, yep. Is this tusk?
What's that Wheel of Fortune chick's name?
Vanna White.
That is me today. Minus the super white smile.
It looks like we might be having some technical difficulties with the live stream. Looks like folks can hear us, but they can't see us.
Oh, sorry about that, everybody. We are, if you can hear us but can't see us, we are currently working on it. So hopefully we'll be back here in a moment.
If not, they can definitely follow us on Twitter and follow the hashtag hippowash.
If not, hopefully everyone just heard Joe. If not, you can follow us on Twitter with hashtag hippowash. But we'll work on getting everybody back up. I'm sure no one's going anywhere. They know Corinne's here.
All the reason to stay.